Welcome back to PR and Test Drive. I'm James, and this week I've been testing the 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Now I've got this Hyundai Tucson in its ultimate trim, which means I get all the nice bells and whistles that money can buy when it comes to the Tucson Hybrid. And needless to say, I'm pretty happy with it all. Now, this thing will run you about $50,000 Canadian, but I mean, you will save quite a bit of money at the pump. I mean, I can already tell you right now that fuel economy wise, this hybrid system is doing its job. And I do quite a bit of city driving, but we will talk more in depth about that a little bit later on in the video. But I want to tell you right now that this is probably the SUV that I would buy versus something like the Toyota RAV4 or any of the Honda hybrids. I just think space-wise and look-wise, Hyundai's got something very, very good on their hands here. Let's hop in and I'll tell you why. All right, so on the road now with the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Spent almost, or pretty much, this is my 6th day with the vehicle now. So let's put it into sport mode here and let's see what it's got. Full beams. Yeah, quite a bit of lag, quite a bit of hesitation from the turbocharger. Speaking of that, powering the Tucson is a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, giving us 231 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. That is, of course, combined with the hybrid system that is on board. In terms of battery, what I was able to find is it is a lithium-ion battery with a capacity of 1.49 kilowatt hours. So a small battery, no, but doesn't really matter because I like the easiness to just get in and drive of having just the hybrid system on board. I don't have to worry about plugging anything in. The hybrid battery is taking care of all of that by itself. It'll charge when it needs to. It'll run in full EV mode when it can, and when it can't, it'll kick on the gas. It'll regen. I do have some type of regen braking in here, which means when I let my foot off the accelerator, it puts a little bit of that battery or that energy generated from the wheels back into the battery pack to later be used for actual driving. It's a very neat system that I always find very interesting. Now, coupled with all those things, we also have all-wheel drive and a 6-speed automatic transmission, which has felt fine because really, performance side, having over 200 horsepower in an SUV that happens to be a hybrid is a pretty good number, and not one I was expecting, because when you get into this SUV, it doesn't look fast because it isn't. It's not supposed to be fast. It's supposed to be spacious, comfortable, quiet, and just easy to use, and it is absolutely all those things. And so the performance side is just kind of a boost, although it is like a little laggy when you full throttle it, but that's not what you're doing when you go onto the highway. So getting onto the highway and overtaking slower traffic will be no issue in the Tucson Hybrid, which is good news. Now, in terms of ride quality, the Tucson is very good. There's no adaptive damping, so no matter what mode I'm in, sport mode, eco mode, my mode, or any of the terrain modes, which are sand, mud, and snow, it's pretty comfortable nonetheless. It's just a very nice ride quality. The seats are also very comfortable. They hold me quite nicely. I could do a road trip in either the front or the back seat with absolutely no problem. Handling in sport mode kind of stiffens up the steering that I like and increases the braking and throttle response like any normal sport mode would do. But normally I'm driving this thing in eco mode just because I want it to sip fuel as much as it can. And I'm at half a tank and I'm on my 6th day with the car. I have not needed to stop at a gas station so far, which is pretty good news. With a normal gas car, usually about midweek, I have to stop at the gas station. So at this point in the week, I've done just over 300 kilometers total, and that's me driving to the grocery store. That's me driving back and forth to the office and my home and picking my daughter up and doing all the daily driver stuff that you would do. And I mean, I'm pretty close to all of my things. I don't really need the highway that often, but I'm still seeing 8 liters per 100 kilometers for my fuel economy, which I gotta tell you, that is pretty impressive. When I owned my 2018 Hyundai Elantra Sport, that was a full gas. I drove it in sport mode all the time, and even in then, I was seeing in like the 9.5s. Even if I drove it in an eco, I could maybe get it down into the 9. So for this SUV with all-wheel drive and everything, you know, it weighs more than your typical sedan. It is getting really good fuel economy. For me, at least, this 8 liter per 100 kilometer is a very, very good number. Now, sure, you could go with the plug-in hybrid and you'd get a little bit more range and potentially you'd get a little bit more savings. But again, it's just, I don't really enjoy worrying about charging. I don't enjoy worrying about like what the battery health is. Like, how high is the battery? Do I have enough? Should I charge more? Should I stop at a station to get more like, throw all that out of the window. I just hop in, I drive, and the car does what it does, and it manages everything really, really well. And that is just the beauty of owning a hybrid vehicle. Now, my experience in, I guess, one of the competitors, or you could say one of the competitors for the Tucson, is the CX-50 Hybrid. Now, I like the CX-50 Hybrid. Seats were really not comfortable for me. These ones beat that. I like the driving too. It had a decent pep, but just the Hyundai Tucson feels better than that. I think it feels better than anything that Honda has on offer too in terms of its SUV hybrid lineup. It's just the better pick for me. It just would be probably the one that I look into design, because I like the design. I like, all the features that Hyundai packs in, and overall I just like how they drive just a little bit more than its competition. But again, I think it's something that comes down to preference, because all of the vehicles, whether it's Hyundai, Mazda, or Honda, or any other really hybrid, they're pretty good. All the choices in this segment are quite good. So I touched on a little bit of seat comfort and stuff like that, but let's talk about the interior. I got my turn signal on right now, and I've got a little camera that's showing me my blind spot, something that comes with my Hyundai Ultimate package. Really cool. We see it on some of the Genesis stuff as well. I've got 2 sets of memory seats. My driver and passenger seats are power adjustable. I like the leatherette feel. Again, seats are very comfortable, no complaints there. I like the steering wheel. It's kind of that new age Hyundai steering wheel that we've been seeing. Physical controls, physical buttons for the volume and also for the cruise control. And also this thing has an elite lane centering system. It just keeps you dead center and only really yells at you to put your hands on the wheel when it's in like any type of turn. But other than that, you can turn the adaptive cruise control on. Now, next, the biggest change on the interior, at least from the last time that I drove a Hyundai Tucson in general, I don't think it was hybrid, it was the N line. I think it was in 2023 that I drove that one, and there has been a pretty drastic change in terms of the gauge cluster and infotainment screen. Now it's kind of all blended into one nice sort of, it looks like one screen. Technically it's 2 screens, but they've done a good job in making it look like it could be 2 screens. So really nice theming for the digital gauge cluster. I can see my battery, what the battery's doing. I can't see the kilometers of the hybrid battery, but I can see what it's doing. So right now I'm driving about 54 kilometers, and it's telling me that the electric battery is taking care of it all and the engine is off. So I can see that it's powering the wheels instead of the engine doing it. But I'll also see the opposite when that does happen. I can see kind of what the battery level is. I can see like a low or high battery level, but that's pretty much it. And it also has a little green EV light when I am in fact in EV mode, but I can see all the information I need for my gauge cluster. I've also got a digital heads-up display, which is very nice. And then for the infotainment display, it's nice and big, nice and smooth. Hyundai was already good with their infotainment display. I didn't have any problems with it in its previous generations. They've just improved on it for 2025 with a new look, a new theme. I've got built-in navigation, I've got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, the standard stuff, which is very nice. And I've also got like abilities to customize my drive mode, which also includes a baby mode, which I really like. If your baby's sleeping, you can put it in there. And what that does is it basically deadens the throttle response. The throttle response is very cut, so that way it's a smooth takeoff every time and you don't disturb your child that's sleeping in the back. That's good. I am a father of a pretty young child, and that feature will come in handy should I need this thing long term. Now, another change you'll notice if you've driven a previous generation Tucson is the HVAC control system. Now, we don't have that many physical buttons. There's still touch buttons galore, but they've kind of given us the quick access buttons. It's not like that slab of piano, black piano plastic that was there that was kind of integrated. This time you've got like these touch buttons for my heated and ventilated seat, dual zone automatic climate control. Those are still knobs, which is good. I've also got heated seating, but all the HVAC stuff has kind of got like its separate own screen that you got to use. And I don't hate it necessarily because it works and I don't find myself like missing the buttons, and it does like a little beep, like a little audible beep that I could hear that I know I've touched something. So, I mean, that part is fine for me. I don't mind it at all. But if you do like physical buttons, you may not like the HVAC system in here. Other than that, I do have USB-C chargers. I've got a ton of storage underneath kind of the control center here where the cup holders are. There's a little bit of black plastic there where I can control my drive modes. I could also bring up my 360-degree camera. Cameras are high quality, and I can see all around the vehicle very, very well. This vehicle is not big. It's one of those features that come with an Ultimate package that I like to have, that I want, but I don't need. So you could obviously option this vehicle a lot cheaper and maybe you don't have the blind spot camera and you don't have the 360 stuff, but you don't need that stuff, trust me. The hybrid system is where this vehicle shines. Now, in terms of back seat, very good. I can fit all my stuff in there. My daughter's seat fits very well. It's not compromising the front passenger space at all. I don't have to move that seat up. Tons of space, tons of headroom. Could do a road trip back there as a fully grown adult. Very comfortable. No controls back there. The seats are heated, which is very nice. No climate control, but there is vents and USB-C charging, so hard to complain. So overall, driving and interior is a very, very nice experience. And again, I just like it more than its competition. I like it design-wise, and I just also like it feel-wise. But again, that is purely preference, and I want to know which one is your top. So now I want to take a look at the exterior design for our Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that it is my favorite out of all of the hybrids available in its class. It is the one that stands out the most. It looks better than the CR-V Hybrid, it looks better than the CX-50 Hybrid, and of course it looks way better than the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, but that is of course just my opinion. Now, I will tell you that I do tend to prefer the design and looks of the N-line trim of the Tucson, just because it looks a little bit more sporty. That one tends to stand out even more, at least in my eyes, but I will take this Ultimate trim any day of the week, because in 2025 we have a little bit of a revised front end. Now, a lot of these changes here are not changes that you would notice with the untrained eye. You kind of got to look at them side by side, and then you'll start to kind of see the slight differences. But front end looks really nice. I really like these integrated daytime running LEDs. I like kind of the darked out grille here, and I also like how there's some contrasting material in the front. Really does help it stand out. Over on the back, we've kind of got that classic Hyundai bar, the light bar that kind of spans across. Looks really cool though. The taillights look very, very nice. And I will say that the back wiper is tucked up right underneath the brake light. So any amount of snow that we get in Quebec will not break that thing. So that is one of the things I've been saying for a long time whenever I notice it. And Hyundai Tucson has got it right. Now, trunk space as well is really, really good. A ton of space. I am a single child family, so easy to throw all our stuff in there and head out for a night out or head out for a day activity, whatever we're doing. The Tucson's had enough room trunk-wise for that as well. If you take a look at it from the side, I like the paint color. I don't hate the chrome, but again, it's one of those things where the N-Line has a little bit nicer rims to me than the Ultimate trim does, but still better than its competition, which says something. So last thing I want to mention while I'm standing outside of the Tucson is that it has the cool feature that you saw on many other Hyundais in its Ultimate trim. If somebody parks next to you and they're absolutely rude to do that and you just don't feel like you can get out on your own, you'd rather have the car do it, well, Hyundai's got you covered. So you want to start the vehicle like so. Sometimes there'll be a noise, sometimes there will not be a noise, because of course sometimes it will start on its battery, but I could see right now that it is in fact started. So let me go ahead and press the forward button on my key fob and it should start to move itself forward. Here we go, just like this. Now the Genesis didn't move back, so we'll see if this guy can come back to me in the same fashion. But there you go, it's gone, it's out. Now you and your family can get in and do everything you need to do. So let's see if I want it to do the reverse. If I want to back up with it, will it do it? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It's coming right back into frame and not embarrassing me this time. It works. All you got to do is hold your little remote control key fob, and there you go. Also, you get a good, you can hear the backup noise that it makes. Then it puts the four ways on to indicate that, well, it may not be in a spot that's suitable, because it definitely doesn't park itself for you, but that is a very, very cool feature that are on a lot of Hyundai Ultimate trims, and I'm glad to see it here on the Tucson Hybrid. So to sum everything up on my thoughts of the Tucson Hybrid is, sure, I've got all the bells and whistles. I've got the Ultimate package and the ventilated seats and the blind spot camera and the auto park feature or the parking assist feature. I got all that. But honestly, you don't need a single thing of it, because the best, and I've said this before when we were driving, the best selling point of this Tucson Hybrid is the hybrid system itself, is the way that it sips fuel, is the way that it just manages itself all on its own. You don't have to worry about it like you would with a plug-in hybrid version of this. I think the hybrid is the way to go when it comes to the Tucson. I think the Tucson hybrid is the way to go when it comes to its other competition, at least for me. I prefer this one. You could easily get away though with getting the preferred trim of this hybrid Tucson at a way lower price. I think it starts at $37,000 Canadian around. And you'd still get the hybrid system, you'd still get a comfortable ride, you'd still get the drive modes. Maybe you don't get the 360 camera, the parking sensors and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter, because if your goal is to save money at the pump and to just be that much more efficient when you're driving, but you still want the added addition of like having a fully gas car and you're not ready to go fully electric yet, or even plug-in hybrid, hands down, Tucson and Hyundai have done a very, very good job at optimizing things, and it's all-wheel drive, so it'll survive a Quebec winter as well. But of course, I want to know what you think. Would you take something from Mazda, Toyota, or Honda, or any of the other competitions that I didn't mention? And if you already are driving one of those competitors, let me know how you think it compares to the Tucson, why the Tucson, and why not. I want to hear all your thoughts so we could have a very cool conversation about hybrids and Hyundai in the comment section. I love to hear from you. I read all the comments. Sometimes I don't always get a chance to reply myself, but trust me, I do read all of your comments and I like to see them. So thanks so much for your support thus far. We're heading into the summer. It's about to get really fun here on the channel, so you're going to want to stay tuned for all the cool stuff we've got coming up. With that being said, I'll see you next week. See you next car. Take care.